Welcome to Fitbody Lifestyle, the show where we dive deep into the world of fitness, health, business, relationships, and the art of living a balanced life. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Greg, and we're here to give you the benefit of our experiences in the fitness and bodybuilding industry, the corporate world, running a business, personal development, and building healthy relationships.
Whether you're sweating it out in the gym, hustling in your business, or seeking balance in your everyday life, you're in the right place.
So lace up those sneakers and grab that water bottle, and let's get ready to transform our minds, our bodies, and our lives.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Fitbody Lifestyle. We're so happy to be with you today. I'm here with my partner in crime here.
Hello.
Gregory D. and the lovely Kerryne Henich.
Hi.
We are so happy to have you here today.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
I know. I'm so excited to explore this whole conversation we're going to have. But first, we're going to have you start with your check-in word.
Okay, so mine is warm because I am here in Arizona and I'm not freezing in Utah, so warm.
Warm is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm enjoying this weather right now. It's been
So
beautiful.
I love it.
So for the listeners that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I am 45. I have a husband and we have 5 kids together between the two of us. And I'm an Olympian. I've been to Olympia in 2018. I went to Masters Olympia in 23 and got 4th place. So that was fun. But yeah.
So now you're prepping for...
Now I'm prepping for 2025, the Tokyo Masters Olympia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're very excited to do that.
Excited.
Yeah. Tokyo is going to be when neither one of them have been there, so it'll be our first time, right?
Yeah, we're taking all the kids, so it's going to be an adventure.
Yes,
We'll look like a freak show because my husband's so tall. I'll be tan. The kids are all blonde. It's going to be a mess. Photographs everywhere, I'm sure. People stopping us.
I love that. And how long have you been coaching?
So this is my 6th year coaching. I never wanted to coach, I'll be honest. It wasn't something that I was like, oh yeah, someday I want to do that. But when I did, and when I started, it was like, this is what I'm supposed to do.
It's funny to hear you say that you didn't want to originally, because actually I didn't either originally. And it kind of just like, it's very much the same thing. I started doing it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. Yeah. And I can't imagine you not coaching, because I feel like it's just so much a part of who you are, and seeing how your athletes respond to you and love and respect you, and you know, how well you take care of them is really inspiring.
Can I make an observation? That both of you just talked about how you didn't want to coach. And I know that's one of the things we're going to talk about is the coaching experience or the athlete experience. And I wonder how much of your desire not to coach was based on your individual experiences. And that's kind of both of you is that why would I want to do this when I'm not getting what I need out of it, right? I don't know. I just noticed that commonality though.
Well, it's interesting. And it's interesting you say that, because there was a point in time where I thought maybe I wasn't going to coach athletes. And, you know, because I felt like, you know, I hadn't made my health a priority prior to that in my preps, you know, Papa Bear here convinced me. He's like, you know, that all the more reason you need to exist in this space, because people who really care and want to put people's health first, both mentally and physically, like we need more of those coaches.
Yeah, it's rare.
Well, and I also think that in our space, you know, outside of the whole movement around functional medicine and overall health optimization among non-athletes and I shouldn't call them non-athletes, but non-competitors, I do think is increasing, and that's wonderful. And dissatisfaction with allopathy or the Western medicine, that's all growing. But within our world of bodybuilding, I think there are a lot of people who think they're healthy and who say, oh, because they eat clean, because they do this, because they do that. And in fact, these can in a lot of ways be more at risk than the general population for other things, because I don't know that I would call it abuse, but maybe abuse of oversupplementation, over PED use, over training, not placing sleep, not digestion. I mean, all these things are really systemic within what we look at, and so that's why I had the talk with Jamie and just said, this is the at-risk population where you can have the most impact.
Yeah.
Well, I want to rewind. So
yeah, sorry, I got ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. He's usually rewinding me because I start going too far in advance. But I want to rewind and explore how did this all start for you? How did you find competing? Like, what drew you to it, inspired you? Like, give us some background in that regard.
So I was a young mom. I started having kids when I was 21. 21 and 24, but I had a really bad eating disorder that I developed. I haven't ever been really confident. I wasn't like, I guess, as a child, I wasn't ever encouraged to be better or to do more, or that I could even achieve anything, honestly. So it was just, this is how life is. My ex-husband wasn't very kind. It just kind of sent me down a rabbit hole, and it got really scary for me because it was like 8 years straight where I was just not taking care of myself. And watching my kids grow up, I kept thinking, I don't ever want my daughter to do this to herself. I don't want my daughter to see me like this or see me get on the scale 15 times a day and then not ever eating. And when I do eat, it was panic mode. So I knew I had to change something, but I was also nervous about what that would do to my marriage because it was just a very surface level experience for me and not very happy or pleasant. But when I decided to get help for it, I met a coach at a gym in California, and she was a figure pro. She was beautiful. And I was like, I just don't look like you. If I'm going to eat, if I'm going to fuel my body, I want it to be for good reason. I don't want to be skinny fat. That was my biggest fear. And so I started training with her, and she's like, you should get on stage. You should compete. Bikini had just started that year. But she's like, you're already there. You can just get on stage. I was like, no, I actually want to really grow muscle. I need to take care of myself. So I've got to heal. And so I started prepping for a figure competition. And I competed in figure for about 1.5 years, 2 years. I did good. I mean, on the local level, regional level, I did great. But I would never get the size I needed. And that was my reality check when I went to USA's and competed there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm tiny. But I felt so big because I'd put on probably 20 pounds, over the 1.5 years of, I'm sure it wasn't all muscle, but a lot of muscle. And I was eating and I was fueling my body and I was feeling really good and confident. But I realized then, okay, this is not where I'm supposed to be. I'm not willing to get bigger. I'm not willing to keep pushing myself harder. I'm not willing to use PEDs to do this. So I switched to bikini after about 1 year off. And during all of this, I feel like I just learned to really love myself, which I never did before. And it was like I respected myself. I knew I could do hard things. For me, the eating disorder was a control thing. I had no control in my marriage. I had no control, of so many things in my life, but that was one thing that I could take and just own it, even though it wasn't healthy. And so with competing, I use that same mindset. This is something I have control of. I can use this to make me better, stronger, physically, mentally, emotionally, everything. And it was like that crutch that just got me through a lot of hard times. And it still does to this day. It's just something that I really am passionate about. And seeing other women too who similar stories or similar issues, similar situations, and being able to talk with them about my experience, share that with them. It's just important to me.
It's so beautiful to hear you talk about that, because I do feel like for so many of us that the bodybuilding has been, kind of what saved us from certain situations in our life, or, certainly with the eating disorder and being able to shift that focus to something so much healthier for you and allow you to go, wow, this is, I want my body to grow. I want to, have muscle and, not be afraid of weight and the scale and things like that. So is that also what ended up inspiring you to coach and help people to overcome similar things?
Yeah. I mean, I talk to a lot of women because I've done other podcasts. I've shared my story before, and I'll get messages just from random people. I listen to your podcast. I'm going through a similar situation, or I'm struggling in my marriage, just a lot of different things. And it's like, what, we're here for a reason, and everything we go through is on purpose, whether we understand it or not, or whether we like it or not. So being able to share that with other people and get encouragement from others, inspire them, maybe help them through something hard that you don't even know you're helping them through.
Right.
I could keep this all inside. I could keep my story in here and never share with anybody, but I don't feel like that's the right thing to do. So
isn't it interesting too, when we share things like that, what we end up finding out is we're more alike than we are different. So it's really beautiful.
Power of vulnerability.
I know when I started competing, there were certain things I was struggling with that I felt like I was on an island. And then finally, when, I did start sharing more and other people were sharing more, I was like, wow, we're so much more alike than I ever realized. And then all of a sudden there's that safe space.
It's true. I mean, there's so many things that I've had to deal with in all life. Kids, husband, ex-husband, whatever, that I felt so embarrassed to talk about because I'm the only one going through this, is how I felt. There's no one else. This is crazy. No one else is experiencing this. And I didn't share it with my family. I didn't share it with my really close friends. But when I finally opened up and started to, I was like, wow, there's a lot of people who have done this or been through this or have gotten to the other side of this. I can do this too.
As humans, we crave connection.
Yeah.
I mean, that is part of, depending on how one of the books that we read over time was Conversations with God, and that was really an impactful series of books for us to read. And the whole premise of that is that that God exists in all of us, and whether you believe in that or not, the metaphor is still applicable here, which is, if God exists in all of us, then we are all connected through that. And there are far more things that we share in common than our differences. But so often we focus on those differences. So we crave connection as humans, but we do the very thing that impedes that connection, which is being vulnerable. Because it's only when we share what's going on with us that we truly connect with other people. And I think most people have experienced this. And so somewhere along the line, I don't know where it happened or when it happened. People smarter than I probably know this, but we stopped doing that. So we held stuff in, and I my parents were very much Depression era parents, and so they didn't share any of those feelings. And it was weird that until they started sharing those things, I really never felt as connected with them. But when they did start sharing those things, that's when I felt connected with them. So I guess we can give the shout out to Brene Brown and talk about the power of vulnerability, which is her Netflix special or her books. But that's really how we connect. We connect by being vulnerable.
Yeah, that's true. And it's hard to be vulnerable because you feel
Scary.
judged. Yeah, it's scary. Like, are they going to accept me for whatever I'm going through? Or are they going to think something's wrong with me? It's always something so scary to share with people. But I have found, like, as hard as it can be, it's very safe. It like almost makes you feel safer because you're not hiding. It's like, this is who I am. This is how it's going to be. So this is what I'm going through, and either help me or don't. But that's the facts. Not everything that I've done in prep has been healthy. I won't say that by any stretch. Like, there's been times when I still felt like I needed to care for my health more. I've got a lot of issues because of it, but I learned from it. I didn't know what I didn't know, and now I know better. But it was like, people would say, "Aren't you starving?" Actually, no. I'm getting something. It wasn't much, but like, I know what starving is like. I did that for a long time, and I'm fueling my body as much as I could at that point in time. But yeah, so it's kind of that weird like mindset shift to being okay with fueling your body and then being okay with getting it taken away from you again, and then bring it, it's that back and forth. It's that.
What was the eating disorder? Was it?
So it's actually so embarrassing to me, but I just wouldn't eat, honestly, like ever. So I would say anorexia. I didn't ever, I wasn't bulimic, but if I did eat, I took laxatives for me, it was like, I'm going to get it out of me. Which I think is why I have a lot of GI issues now. But I did that for 8 years. There was times when I was taking probably 25 a day.
Oh, wow.
Just to be able to go. And that's when I started getting scared because I'm like, is this going to kill me? Can I die from this? Is this something that's going to affect my health long term? And yes, the answer is yes, it can. So that was my reality check. Like, okay, I can't keep doing this because it's miserable. You can't leave your house. There were so many things that were not okay with it, but mentally, it was just, that's how I felt like it would be okay. I'm not throwing up, so it's different.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting too, because when you have a background like that and then you do start to compete, I mean, there are dangers there as well, which, like I think, you started to allude to that. And I would like to kind of dive into that a little bit more too, is, kind of more safe practices when we compete. People can take things to extremes too. So, and especially if you already have an extreme personality or you have had a background where, eating, there's been some disordered eating, then this, I think it's a good thing to talk about because people do need to look out for it. So, I mean, I know you talked about you were initially figure, which we have in common too.
I know. It's so funny.
It's awesome. It's so cool to watch how the industry evolves and the divisions evolve and everything. So, but tell us about, some of those things that you encountered when you started competing that maybe weren't the most healthy.
Yeah, I mean, it was just being really restrictive with what foods I ate. I was always on a meal plan before, and I didn't really know what my calories were. I didn't ask, I didn't see it. But when I really started looking into it, I was not being really fueled or fed. I never had an improvement season. I never had a growth season. I never went through that. I never was reversed properly. So it was kind of like I just stuck to the plan every day, 365 days a year for years. And it was maybe, I would say at max 900 calories a day, doing 2+ hours of cardio 7 days a week for 5 years, like for years straight. And so I know like that wasn't the right thing to do, but for me, it was like, that's what kept me focused on this one thing that I had when my marriage was falling apart. You know, I was dealing with so many other things that this was like something I needed. So it just kept me going. And I've had a lot of therapy since. So I feel like I worked through a lot of those things. But, you know, every now and then you think about it, it's like, man, you know, what was I doing? I have thyroid issues. I have hormone issues. Like everything has changed since then, but I learned so much from it. It made me so strong. It made me strong enough to the point where I could walk away from a long marriage. And I was okay with that. I was fine with being alone. I didn't care if I ever got married again.
Sounds like you needed to run away from that marriage, actually.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I really did. I did.
Well, and it's amazing that you found such a wonderful.
Too fast, yes.
I can relate to that too. I feel like you and I are
same
like
story. I know. I was like, I'm never getting married again. I don't want to date anybody. And then
Boom.
Here comes Tori.
Yeah.
And it was like so fast. And we were married a year later. And what am I doing? But it's perfect. He's amazing. So
yeah, I resemble that story. I know. It's like right when I was like, I'm ready to be alone. I'm like, you know, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden here comes this guy, and I'm like, of course the perfect guy comes along as soon as I'm totally ready to be by myself. It's
know.
just
Far from perfect, but perfect for you.
perfect for me.
Yes.
Well, I do think that is part of it though. Like you do the work on yourself, which then allows you to be open to that person to come
Yeah.
into your life, and then boom,
it's true.
then they appear.
I tell people that all the time, like, you can't be searching for it. It will come to you. Like, if I had been searching, I probably never would have found him. But the second I stopped, like, thinking about what someone could give to me and just giving to myself and, like, really loving myself, that's when, like, everything changed. Everything.
That's amazing.
So when you said something earlier that really, really resonated with me about there was so much in your life that was not in your control, and this gave you the control. But I do wonder how much of that was getting into a feedback loop for you, a positive feedback loop, which was really a negative feedback loop, is that because you were on this incredibly strict schedule, 900 calories, 2 hours of cardio per day, plus your training. I mean, that's a lot of structure and control within a day. So I wonder how much, and I don't know whether you unpack that in therapy, but I do wonder how much that really unhealthy way of approaching this for 5 years too. Okay, we're not talking about 5 weeks or 5 days or a final push into a show. We're talking 5 years, day after day after day. And you said about the control aspect of this. So did that ever come up in terms of, well, because it's so controlled and really unhealthy for you, though, that was a comfort zone because there was control in a kind of a negative feedback loop kind of way.
Yeah, I've talked about that a lot with my therapist, actually. I do a lot of things that are, I don't know why I do them, but this is one of them. And for me, even like when I'm in the most stressful times of my life, if I commit to something and I just have something else to focus on, I'm a different person. It's when I can't do those things and I'm just sitting in my my stress and whatever's going on, the chaos, it's the chaos that gets me. And that's from childhood. So that's kind of what we related it to. Anything chaotic going on in my life, I want to shut down and hide. Because that's what I did as a kid. When things got scary at home or my dad yelling at my brothers or my brothers are fighting, or my brothers are trying to come after me, I would hide. I would hide and I was just quiet. So that's another reason why I'm probably more quiet than most people is I was told to sit down and shut up. Like that's how we were raised. And children should be seen and not heard is what we were told. So that's kind of what I grew up with. And now when things get loud, crazy, chaotic, it just takes me back and I kind of I shut down. So this is the one thing I feel like that can be happening all around me, but I can just kind of stay in my lane. And I think it saved my life many times, honestly. So
We all have our coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
And, I think that's where it's like, okay, if we can make it the gym and the structure and all of that, that can be such a better thing than some of the other alternatives that are out there. And then what I think is really awesome too is like seeing you grow, both as an athlete and as a coach into like you're eating more than you ever have.
yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy. And your body's now responding so great. I know you had to go through some different things from a health perspective to get here. Yeah. So I mean, it's exciting for me to get to watch like, all that growth. And then I do, and I think I'm sure you agree, but how has that influenced you, going through all of these things, in terms of like being able to understand other people's journeys? Because I sometimes feel like for me, the things that have been really difficult have really been to prepare me. So do you feel like that, and how has it been that way for you?
Yeah, it's interesting because some of the things I've gone through even recently, like I've had clients opening up to me about them going through similar things, and it's like, this is why I'm here, because I'm on the other end of it to an extent, but like just to be able to like share experiences so they don't feel alone, because I know how alone I felt for so long, and so to be able to empathize, share experiences, talk them through it, give them some suggestions or help, or even just be an ear for them to, they need to call me. I think that's been probably really eye-opening for me too, because I don't feel like I had that through all of the stuff I've been through. It's just been like I said, I shut down. I don't want to bother anybody with my issues. And so, but now having people come to me, it's like, oh, you know what? This is why I'm here. I can help them through it. And it helps me too.
Because life happens to all of us.
I was going to say that. Yeah. Like we can be so structured. And this is the thing that I really have to, like, I'm sure you do too, nail into our clients' heads. Like there's going to be days when life is lifing and you're not going to make it to the gym. It's not the end of the world. Give yourself grace. Just do what you can that day. But like, there's been so many times where it's like my kids need something and I have to leave the gym to go to them, or, and then it's like my stress of, am I going to get my workout in? Is this going to happen? It's not important. Life's always going to have to come first. Always.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Never know what to expect.
never. And tomorrow's not promised. Like you may not be able to do the things you need to do tomorrow. So get them done today. And then the next day, do the same thing. It's a new day. Focus on the day, not the big picture, not the end game.
I think that's one of the things that there are a lot of check-ins that we get, or athletes that we get that will have this makeup mindset.
Yes.
And it happens with food and it happens with training. Okay, hey, I missed today, so I'm going to double up tomorrow. Or I missed my cardio today, so instead of doing my prescribed cardio, I'm gonna triple it or quadruple it because I need to make it up. And I do think, that's one of our core philosophies is, look, there's no makeup. Just treat today as today. If you missed it, you missed it.
Yep.
And in some ways, maybe you missed it and you needed it. Maybe you needed that recovery, that extra day's rest. So instead of worrying about what you missed, worry about how you can apply that miss to make today's training that much better, that much more intense, that much more improved. And I shared this before. There's this John Wooden, who is one of the most successful coaches in all of sports from UCLA. He talked about how the best way to influence tomorrow is by focusing on today. You can't fix yesterday. Yesterday's gone. Yesterday's in the books. Is done. Yep. You can learn from yesterday, but you're not going to change what happened yesterday. So focus on what you're doing today, and that sets the gateway for whatever happens tomorrow. But this notion of, I need to make this time up, you could do yourself, somebody goes in and double trains, does their upper and lower body in one day and splits it up. I mean, you could get hurt doing that. And then what have you done? Right. Now you've put back your timeline even further. So I do think that focus on the daily execution, just worry about today, is really the right approach.
Yeah. No, I don't know that I've always felt that way myself. So I can relate to like why they're like, oh, I'm going to make it up. I'm going to get it done this day. But now, like, I travel a lot for work. I'm not always going to get my workouts in, but it's fine. I know I'm not going to lose muscle. As long as I stay focused on the things I have control of that day, then we're good. It's when you have that all or nothing mindset, and it's either, I'm going to get all my workouts in or nothing. I'm going to get all my food hit or nothing. It's those ones that are hard to deal with because you have to retrain them, like reframe their thoughts. It's not all or nothing. It's today. Focus on today. Well, tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah, and that's the difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset, right? So fixed mindset is fail, succeed, win, lose, black, white. That's it. Those are the only two choices, and that's such a restrictive way of living. And there's a reason why it's called the fixed mindset, and the other mindset's called the growth mindset. If you want to grow and you want to evolve and you want to improve, then focus on what you're doing today and how you learn from what happened yesterday, the days before, but now how you're going to make today better.
Yeah, I agree. So true.
So where and when did you earn your pro card?
It was in 2015 at Junior Nationals. So I don't think anyone thought I was going to go pro that day, especially me.
That makes it so much better.
I know. It's. I think we talked about that earlier, but like it's one of those things where I was just going to do it, and then because I was 35, I was going to do Universe next, and that was like the warm up just to get feedback. And I was split center. There were 6 of us, and I couldn't believe it, but I was like, I'm sure it's second. Like, of course it is. I kept doing the wrong pose. Like, it was just everything fell off. But I think the one thing that stood out, I didn't have the best physique, and I know that, and I admit it. I don't think I should have won physique-wise, but I think my posing, my presentation is what kind of trumped, and that's what got me my pro card, which it's still crazy, but I never thought that day would come, honestly.
Interested in changing your life or stepping on stage? Join Fitbody Fusion today.
Experience the Fitbody Fusion difference with tools, knowledge, and community support to reach your healthy and sustainable lifestyle.
We guide thousands on their fitness journeys, from seasoned athletes to those who are simply seeking a healthier life.
Our expert coaches provide personalized plans and unwavering support, empowering you to thrive.
Fitbody Fusion is more than just training. It's a community. We understand the challenges of solo fitness journeys, which is why we foster a supportive environment where members encourage and motivate each other.
Join the Fitbody Fusion community today and unlock your full potential.
Head to fitbodyfusion.com to sign up for a free consultation.
And do it today.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, because we talk a lot about that. Like, everything counts, everything matters. And I know, I see you do this a lot with your athletes, and making sure that presentation is just right. I mean, it's everything buttoned up, from the hair and makeup, the suit, the fit, the posing, like all that stuff. Like, if you can stand out,
in a good way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. and I think we do need it. Yeah. That's really I don't think it would hurt to maybe spend a little bit of time on that. Is how do you stand out without standing out?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be polished, your presentation. Like, less is more, in my opinion. So I don't like to choreograph hand movements and things like that with my clients, because I feel like that's what makes them look awkward on stage, is they're overthinking everything and they look robotic. So just let your body kind of move with you, but it has to look effortless and natural and classy and, age appropriate too. I feel like sometimes they try to make themselves look younger with things they do, and it doesn't play off well. So
I think a lot of what we see too is we see people mimicking what they see the pros doing. And okay, it's the first rule of leadership is be yourself. I think show up and be yourself. And maybe those are 1A and 1B. And the same is true with stage presence, is that when you're on the stage, you don't want to do what somebody else is doing. You want to do what you're doing, and what is natural to you, and what evokes your personality, and what captures that essence of who you are. Not, if I'm posing like Kerryne, then it ain't going to look like, well, first of all, if I'm posing like Kerryne, it's going to look
I would love to see that.
I would love to see it. Can we do that?
Well, I'll take that under submission.
That's funny. No, I do think there's something to it too. Like, when I'm working with clients in person, they're saying, what do I do with my hands when I walk? It's like, well, walk. Let's see what your hands do. Like, don't choreograph it. So I think it's just being able to relax on stage and have fun. Like, the judges want to see you having fun.
Not
and
over-engineering it. Yeah.
Don't overthink it. So.
Well, and I think the other thing you and I have in common too is, like, when you turned pro at 35, I was actually even a little bit older than that, and I love that, because I know, like, sometimes women they get so fixated on the age thing, and it's like, no, just go out there, see what you're capable of, put it on stage, be your best. I also like embracing the age too at the same time. Like, don't be afraid to compete as a Masters athlete. Like, it's all fun.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed of it. I mean, I will admit, like, when I first turned pro, because I was 35, I could do Masters shows. I didn't really want to, because I didn't know if the judges would put me in a category and close the box on me. And so I didn't for a long time, because I did Olympia in 2018, I was 39, almost 40. So for me, it was like, okay, now I'm okay. I did this. I never thought I'd get to Olympia ever in a million years. So getting there was the win. And now it's like, I'm going to own my age now. I'm 40. I'm gonna start doing Masters. And I honestly had hoped that at one point in time, Masters Olympia would come out. I didn't know when, but when that happened, it was like, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. I was really pushing for that, because I think that, it's so exciting to see our Masters athletes. They look incredible. You look incredible. I mean, it's just, I'm always inspired, and I wish that opportunity for the Masters Olympia would have been around. Maybe I would have competed one more year.
I know. I wish that came out a long time ago, but I do think, everything happens for a reason. I think the industry is growing so big, and there's so many Masters women competing. Well, Masters in general, but there's just such a demand for it now.
Yeah.
Like, they have to do it. They have to.
Well, and the quality just keeps getting better and better.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
It really is. I know it's funny. We're always like, okay, can we ID all these women?
Yeah.
Because I don't know about this.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But it is the fountain of youth. I feel like when you take care of yourself, take care of your body, like it keeps that youthfulness.
I agree. Yeah.
So, so what show did you end up qualifying at?
For Olympia? So that year was the point system, the 1 year that
You
they
got
did
to do
points.
a lot of shows. Yes.
I did a lot of shows. Like by the time I got to Olympia, there was nothing left of me. I think I was like 103 pounds. I was tiny. But I had done, I think from the qualifying point the year before, I'd done like 16 shows for that full year to the next qualifying day. But I did win a show that year. It's like, dang it, why is this year? So I won a show. I won Patriots in Vegas in July. So
Yeah,
What
I
year is
remember
this?
you winning that because that's why I was. That's the one I thought you qualified, but I forgot it was the points year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What year?
2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had like a spreadsheet my husband made, and we worked on it together. But like every show, I would put who got what place, and how many points they got. So I had my own little point system going on. It was terrifying. Like every week, I was watching that stinking scorecard, or those that qualifying point system just change, and my name going up and down, up and down, up and down. It was terrifying.
I remember that year because yes, I was doing lots of math. There were a lot of calculations. Okay, if this person places this and this and this and that, it was I was definitely like doing the math Tetris. So
It was stressful.
Did you like the point system?
No.
Really? Okay.
No, because I wanted to show that year. I mean, the thing is like, it's in theory, I think it's a good idea, but there are so many pro shows and there's so many pros that to keep yourself at the top of that, you have to compete every weekend
yeah,
to like at least get top 5, get some points. Because you can, if you skip a few months, you could be out of it.
Yeah.
And that's how it was stressful. I was doing at least a show a month, at least.
Wow.
well, that was my feedback too.
Yeah.
After that year, is just that the athletes were starting to get worn down, and then by the time you guys got to the Olympia, then people weren't able to bring their best, especially the the ones that
Yeah.
which you kind of had to keep because there was no guarantees.
Yeah, you had no choice. You had to keep going.
Yeah.
Because it was, I think it was top 20 in the points that
Right.
got in. So
And then there was the tiers, so that if you won usually like if somebody won a couple higher tier show, then they were good.
Wasn't the last year they did the points? Wasn't it just top 3 that got in? Was it top 3?
I think they still take the top 5 from points. Maybe they don't anymore.
They
Now
don't
it's just
anymore.
winning
Yeah,
in.
they
So
stopped it. You have to.
The next year they did that. They did
Yeah.
And I
the
think
top
part
5.
of it,
Yes.
part of that has been because the evolution of the point system versus the show win system has been that there are more shows now.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot. I mean, when you were competing in 2018, there were a number of pro shows, but now, I mean, there's
There was quite a few back then,
there's
too.
multiple shows. Yeah, there were
Yeah.
quite a few, but there are more now. And I think I don't know, but my suspicion is that that's the reason why. With all those opportunities, why have a point system if the criteria is getting in on the win? Now, if you went all point system, meaning that winning a
That
pro
was- that year
That
was
was
all
the
yeah,
point.
that was
the
all
only
point
year they
system.
did it.
Yeah, and I do think that is an interesting approach. But with the number of pro shows now, I mean, because if you the cool thing about that they could do with the all point system is that you could say, okay, we're going to limit the number of athletes to 30, so it's just the 30 top points. And maybe I shouldn't be saying this because maybe we don't want that.
Oh no, that's what they did though.
Yeah.
That was what they
Yeah.
did that year. That's
No,
what,
and I
and
know
then the
that.
next
yeah.
year they did the combo.
Right.
You if you won, you got in, but then also I think it was top 5 point earners
Yeah.
also. I liked the combo because I do
thought it
feel
was
like
good.
there's those people that just kind of kept getting so close.
Yeah.
But maybe they did the more competitive shows and they are really deserve a spot there, but don't. Yeah. So I liked the combo. I would love to have some spots for those wild card people.
I think so
but-
too. I think that's a fair, because, a lot of the same people show up at every show and a lot of the same people win every show. So having that point system in place, those second place people who could win a show,
Right.
just don't have the opportunity, could definitely get in. So
Right.
I think it's worth
I've
it.
always thought that there should be a tiered system where.
Oh, Greg's got a whole
Yeah.
design. Do you want to talk about? I believe it. I believe it. It's like the brackets, like the football, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I mean, part of it was if they're, depending on the number of athletes that compete in a show, that gets a certain status. So if there are only 10 athletes, then you attach a point value to 10 athletes because winning a show with 10 athletes is a lot different than winning a show with 20, 30,
Yeah.
or 40 athletes.
That's
So,
true.
Although it depends on who those
and
athletes
it does
are,
depend on who
too.
those
Yeah, the
athletes
quality.
are, for sure.
Yeah.
But if you accept the fact that, and I do think that I can get there with the IFBB because of the quality of athletes that we're seeing. We're seeing, top tier athletes, and the distance between the athletes at the Olympia, for example. I mean, the distance between first and last, which I hate to say last because I think they all look phenomenal.
Yeah.
But the distance between the first and the last competitor is really not that much. And so if you accept that, and we've been to some pro shows where there is more disparity for sure, but if you were to tier this in a system where, the number of athletes determine the number of points, or to do it something like, a bracket system where we're going to have certain shows. And if you win that show, then you go into the next bracket. That's what I thought for the Olympia, because the Olympia, I would like this. If you have 50 athletes, it's easy to get lost in the numbers there. If you're, depending on where you come out in that lineup. But at the Olympia, if you were to structure it and say, okay, we're going to do 5 mini shows with 10 athletes. And in those mini shows, only 2 or 3 athletes will go on to the next bracket. And then those 2 or 3 athletes will compete in the next bracket, and then whittle it down like that. Yeah. I like that because I think that gives everybody an opportunity to be seen and to compete in a different lineup. But the downside of it is how would you control the brackets? Because if you're in a bracket with the top 10 Olympians from the prior year and you're number 9, you're number 10, and the top 9 or the top 9 from the prior year, it's like, yeesh. Yeah. How are you going to show up? But I think you could do it by lottery and just say, okay, these are the top 10 athletes, but it does have some problems with it.
Yeah.
It's not perfect.
That's a lot.
Yeah. You got to do your whole proposal.
Yeah.
Get it all drafted up.
I need my PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Hey, we use PowerPoint presentations at our house for a lot of things. So I had to do one to get my dog, the first dog I had.
Oh my God. I
wait.
love that.
Okay, wait. Now stop. Tell this story.
Tori did not want pets, so I love dogs. I really wanted a dog, and it was just the time in my life I felt like I needed something. I needed a dog. I needed a little companion. And so I put together a presentation, like a PowerPoint, telling him why I needed a dog, what kind of dog I was going to get. It doesn't shed, so you can't use that against me. Like, I had all the points in there, and I presented it to him and the kids in front of his parents. So I knew, like, his mom is an animal fanatic. So they were like, well, you have to. You can't say no.
You picked your audience.
So it worked, and I got my dog number 1. And then with dog number 2, I just told him he needs a friend.
And the dog number 2 is a golden doodle, right?
They're both golden doodles, yeah.
And named?
Franklin and Finn.
And he probably loves them now.
He adores them. And they love him. He's the best. Like, he tries to act, he doesn't let me see it all the time, but he is like obsessed with them, just like me.
He's softened up to them, but he just doesn't want to admit it now.
Yeah, and I'm like, cute. Maybe a third one day. I don't know if I could talk about that.
Golden doodles don't shed? Mm-mm. Oh, wow.
Oh, no. Those are great dogs.
They're the best. Good personalities, super loving.
Yeah.
They love everyone.
So I want to kind of compare and contrast and give us some of the viewpoints that evolved for you based on, because it's cool that you've been competing for as long as you have. You've been part of this world for as long as you have. And I feel like the industry has evolved. What we understand as coaches has evolved. Like, what are some of the main things? Because I know you talked a little bit about in the beginning, you were on a meal plan, you realized you were eating 900 or less calories, you were doing a ton of cardio, hours of cardio a day. How does that contrast to, what you're doing now, both for yourself, with your clients? Like, how have your viewpoints evolved in some of these areas?
Yeah, I mean, like, when you're going through it, it's like, this is the only way to get the results, right? Because it worked. I mean, I got the results I needed. I made it to Olympia. I did everything I wanted to do and dreamed of doing, but I didn't feel good. And I knew it was affecting my health. So for me, I care more about my client's health than anything else. I can't even imagine doing any of that to a client or to somebody. So I think it's just more, there's other ways that are healthier to get to the end goal. Maybe it's more time. Maybe it's, just, I don't know, rest. Even like rest. People get so much inflammation just from overtraining. So sometimes I'll pull girls out of training for a few days and they're freaking out, but they drop like 5 pounds. So honestly, there's just so many things that I see differently now as a coach than I saw as just an athlete. And honestly, like, the reason I joined Fitbody Fusion, I've told you this before, but I was backstage, I think it was Nashville, and I just saw Jamie, like, in line with her clients, and I always saw her at lots of shows, but never had the nuts or like the goal to come and talk to you. I didn't have the bravery for that, but I was just not in a really good place with where situation I was in, and I was like, I just had a feeling I need to reach out to Jamie. So I don't just like the difference in the compassion, the understanding, being able to relate to women because we have hormone issues. We've got stuff going on. Like, not a lot of guys understand that. They don't go through it. They don't know.
I'm right here.
I mean, you get it.
Well, yeah, but to your point, I don't go through those things.
Yeah, so it's hard to empathize with people.
I think I guess it depends on how you define empathy, right?
Yeah.
So if you define empathy as I have to have experienced that to really
Like personally.
connect with you, then yeah, you're right. I'm not going to go through that. If you accept empathy as a proposition of I don't have to have gone through that, I just need to be here for you, and then that's and I'm sure you get that a lot, Kerryne, is that your athletes are going through situations that are, even if they go through a same situation as yours, it's always going to be different because everybody's experience and perception of that is going to be a little bit different. So and I'm not saying either definition is right or wrong. I'm just saying for me, I will never have a menstrual cycle. Okay.
Yeah.
But
We hope.
but
I don't know. I feel like men get
I do think
a certain way.
and
What's up?
Jamie
That's why I
said,
talk about menopause.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
she's accused me of going through menopause right now because I like the heater on in a particular room. But
Sorry.
my office, by the way, not like I just said in a particular room. People go, "What room is
room
that?
is it?"
What room?"
Wouldn't you like
And
to
we
know?
are. It is a weird day today. I'm in
It
a
is.
weird mood.
In a good
Yeah,
way.
in a
We,
good
like,
way.
we like when you're in a good mood.
Yeah.
But I do think, having, any guy out there who's never had to go buy tampons.
Yeah.
And when the first time I bought tampons, I was like, I don't care. Why do I care? I mean, I'm buying a product. You're selling this product. Sell it to me. Don't look at me like, why are you buying tampons? Hey, maybe I'm buying them to absorb paint. Whatever. It's none of your damn business.
Who knows, right?
Nosebleed.
Yeah,
they
maybe I'm
use it for
using
all kinds of
using
stuff.
them with my wrestling team to use it because they get bloody noses, whatever. It's so but you
we
learn
digress.
to empathize though, and just and I think what I've learned in some of Jamie's and my experiences is that it wasn't anything that I did. It was really just that I was there.
Yeah, they
And
just say
sometimes
that.
just being that really I think is the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, you can be as in touch with your feminine side and still not know exactly what we're going through, but
I never will.
Yeah,
I never
my
will.
husband's, he'll go buy tampons for us and the kid, or for me and the girls, and he'll carry my purse in public. Like, he doesn't care. There's no shame to that.
We have evolved men.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah.
Well, I maybe part evolution, but part love, right? And part commitment, and that just that understanding that hey, I want to show up for you because you're important to me, and you are, babe. You're the most
Thank
important.
you.
to me.
And you're important to me. No, I love that.
And you're important to me, Miss
Thank
Kerryne.
you. And you are to me as well.
Look at this love.
So that
Love.
so that compassion was a piece of it. And then how about on the nutrition side of things? Or do you now coach with more meal plans, macros? Do you do a combination of those? Where is your mindset around that?
So macros are very new to me. I didn't do them until I was with you. So it's only been 3 years now. I like it. I do like the flexibility. There are times when I have to just make myself a meal plan, because if I have too much time to think about things, I just get overwhelmed. It's that control thing. I like to have control of things. But I do think it's so good for women to have macros, to learn what does food look like? What does nutrition look like? Because if you give them a meal plan, it's just there for them. They don't value that nutrition. They just see this is what I can eat. And I think having to actually look into it. Oh, is this good for me? Maybe it's not the best choice. I'm starving because I'm eating all crap. There's things that you learn from it. I have some that just can't do it. They can't ever get it. And I'll do meal plans for them too. But ultimately, if I can get them to do macros, it's awesome.
Yeah, what I love about what you said is first of all, it depends. Is it different fit for different people, and maybe even at different times. I do think that most people find kind of that combination, like you're talking about, create a day ahead of time and then repeat it, change things out as you like, especially when you're a super busy person or when you're on prep. I definitely think that helps a lot. And I love what you said too about the education piece. It's it's so amazing to me. I know when I first started doing macros, the first bit was overwhelming because I'm you change one thing and it messes everything else, and you're just kind of still learning. I feel like one of the things that benefited me the most, especially now that I'm not competing anymore, is the fact that I've macroed at all kinds of different restaurants and all these different situations. And it taught me so much that it's very easy now for me to be intuitive and make those choices that had I not gone through that and done that, you know, I used to do to Greg all the time. He would hate it. We would go to a restaurant and he'd order something like, oh, do you want to know the macros on that? He would be like, no, I don't.
And she would tell me anyway.
Yes, and I would tell him anyway.
That's so funny.
I ruined certain dishes for him,
Yeah.
you know, but it's like you know, you go in and you think you're doing a good job by ordering the salad and it's actually got more fat and calories than anything else in the menu kind of thing.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said about that too, because I really encourage my clients to like prioritize their marriage, their relationship, have that time together, date.
Good for you. Yeah.
I think that's important because I didn't have that for so long. Tori, the first time he bought me a meal, I think was after we were married. Like when we were dating, we'd meet at the restaurant or we'd go together. I'd bring my Tupperware, he'd eat his burger and we'd eat together, or he'd come to my house with his food and we'd eat together, but he did not have to buy me a meal. So I was probably the best girlfriend he ever had. He saved a lot of money with me, but wasn't.
Some people get mad about that.
That's true. No, he was great. He's very frugal. He was like, this is perfect. I don't have to spend money on you.
Cheap date.
Yeah. But since we
You
got
don't
married,
drink alcohol, so that really saves money.
it's tons of money. But when we started dating, it was just like a different thing I'd never really had. And so now it's really important to us that we are able to date. And when you do macros, you can fit stuff in. You can pre-log your dinner if you know where you're going and then kind of work around it. So I think it's important that women learn how to do that. So it's not like restrict. And the husbands hate them for being in prep or hate prep because they can't date or have fun. Because you can make fun.
Yeah.
And there are two things I want to call out on that. One is, if you're listening to this or watching this and you're thinking macros versus meal plan, it's not a verse. It's not a versus, right? So there are macros in your meal plan.
Right.
And I think
true.
honestly,
You're always doing macros.
Right.
You're always eating macronutrients.
And rewinding your story just a bit, it's when you discovered the macros in your meal that you realized how much you were actually not eating.
Right.
And so I think, you know, we talk about macros and meal plans as though they are exclusive, and they are not. There are macros in your meal plan, and the way to transition from meal plan to macros is, okay, I'm going to eat chicken or fish. I'm going to eat this vegetable. I'm going to eat this carbohydrate. I'm going to take those 3 items or 4 items, whatever they are, and I'll put them into my macro calculator. We use MyFitnessPal, and then I'm going to figure out how many of those do I need each to get whatever my daily macro goals are. It's a meal plan. And you can do that every day if you want. So a meal plan is a macro plan if you really break it down. So, and you can do...
The difference is that, the control. And that's the level of flexibility.
And that goes into the next point, which is about being able to macro at a restaurant and have a date. But I also want to go back to one other thing. And if you're listening to this, watching this, Kerryne just described what is really the ideal support mechanism. Tori's not a competitor, but when he's dating you, he's embracing the fact that, hey, I'm saving some money on this meal, but he's not like making you feel guilty, judged, or in any way less than when you're eating a meal with him and you're eating out of Tupperware. And so if you're listening to this and you're thinking, how do I best support my athlete? I'm not a competitor. Kerryne just described it, because that really is the way to do it. It's like, I don't have to like what you do. I just have to support you in doing that. And I guess that I'm tying
you don't even have to understand.
Right.
I think
that's empathy.
What helps us, and I've explained this to several clients who have had issues with their spouse getting upset or their partner. Tori and I, we don't eat the same thing at a restaurant. If we went to a restaurant, we order something different. So what's the difference between me bringing my food and sitting with him while he eats? It's the same thing. I don't always eat the same thing my family eats, but I'll sit with them every night for dinner. And I have my food, they have theirs. So we're still eating together. We're still having that quality time together. It doesn't matter if I'm not eating the same thing. It's just food.
It's what my saying on this is decouple food from fun.
Yes.
Food and fun are different things. Food is for fuel.
Yep.
So use the fuel that you need. And if you're an electric car, you're not going to put gasoline in an electric car. You're going to put electricity into an electric car. Yep. If you're a diesel engine, you're not going to put gasoline in that. You're going to put diesel fuel. Put the right fuel in your body that you want. And I love what you just said. Yeah. That's a mic drop moment.
Well, it's like it puts it into perspective, because date nights they're great. You go to dinner, whatever, but in no place do you ever order the same thing at a restaurant. Both couples order the same thing, sit down and eat the same thing. So why does it have to be different at home? And that's just kind of how we've always thought of it.
It's a really good point.
I love that.
So
I think there's so many, and I know we talked a lot about how much the mental aspects of affect, our success and what we do and everything else. And I know that we're going to do another episode where I feel like this is kind of, we're going to delve a little bit deeper into some of these tools and some of these mental aspects. So I'm excited to delve into that deeper, but I've loved this conversation.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for being so vulnerable and open and sharing your experiences. And I feel like so many people can relate on different levels. And, I know there's more. So we're going to do another part to this.
Yes.
And in the meantime,
Oh, you want to do a checkout word?
well, no.
Oh.
I just
No, yeah, no,
before
I'm good.
I asked for check, I wanted to make sure you didn't have anything else you wanted to
Oh,
say.
I have
before.
a lot more to ask you about, but I'm looking forward to our mindset episode or part 2 of this conversation, because that's an area that I find to be the most important thing. So,
Same.
yeah.
Yes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Kerryne is going to give us her checkout word before we wrap up.
Inspired. I'm inspired.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
And if you want to be inspired as your checkout word, then like, comment, subscribe, leave your reviews so that we can provide you this kind of content. We do appreciate the support for the channel, and please help us build this and grow this, because we'd like to spread this conversation and some of the love that we have on this couch and to your couch. And is that it?
That's it.
Oh, did we talk about how to connect with
Oh, no.
Kerryne?
How do people get a hold of you?
So Instagram, it's just Kerryne Henich. You probably don't know how to spell that, but
Spell it for them.
KerryneHenich _IFBB Pro. I think that's it. I think that's what it is.
Well, the most important thing is Kerryne
name,
is an interesting spelling. So
Yes.
Kerryne, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Kerryne.
Yep.
And one N in Henich.
Yes, one in a Henich. No R, no other letters, just Henich. No T, yeah. And then also our website, Fitbody Fusion website. So you can find me as a coach there, schedule a consultation.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say this, if you're looking for a coach who's going to understand you and really embrace your journey, Kerryne is a fantastic choice. I mean, she's one of the best at really connecting with people, understanding them, meeting you where you are, and then
getting the results.
And
because of all
you
of it.
get tremendous results, and making the next best version of the very best version of you. She's your coach.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, we good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we
gonna
good?
say the 3
We'll
Bs.
be even better if people like, comment, subscribe, and leave their reviews. That's twice. I got that in twice.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm so
That's
impressed.
I'm an overachiever.
Yes,
And so let's remember the 3 Bs.
Be good to yourself.
Be good to each other,
And be safe. Thank you for tuning in to Fitbody Lifestyle. We hope today's episode has left you feeling motivated and equipped to tackle your fitness goals, business challenges, and the daily dance of life. Remember to value progress over perfection. Life's tough enough alone. Find the chosen family around you to help you along the way.
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite streaming platform. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Fitbody Fusion.